The following podcast is run by a couple of former wheel turners and one pit guy. It's meant for entertainment, not so much information, but sometimes there's some good information. The opinions expressed are just, these are the morons on the show. Not necessarily right, not necessarily wrong, not the views of any of the sponsors or anything like that. So, these guys, they're going to be talking, they might swear here and there, so if that offends you, either grow up or get a little permission from mom and dad.
All right, race fans, we're back. One to Go Show, episode number 237. Ryan Aho, Coach Kraus, and Bert Lehman. How you boys doing here this week?
Doing good. I had the day off today, so I was running around doing errands.
Nice. Banker's hours at best for Bert Lehman. I'm liking it. Work's overrated. That's a bunch of nonsense. I mean, we got more important stuff to do, like have fun racing, golfing, all kinds of good stuff, not working. Of course, I'm sitting in New Jersey working. So there is that. So quick shout out here, Impact Health Sharing. So if you're in the market, right, it's open enrollment's kind of right around the corner. Now, understand this, you can sign up for Impact Health Sharing at any time. What is Impact Health Sharing? It's a great alternative to the rising cost of health insurance. Who's it for? People that are in pretty good health. If you got pre-existing conditions in the last, 36 months, any major medical, probably not the best fit for you, unfortunately. But if you have a pretty clean bill of health, if you have a family, small business, whatever it may be, maybe your deductibles are crazy high. We have an option or an alternative out there that's been saving people a ton of money. Families coming in right around $650 a month for a family, in a whole household deductible, not individual, about $2,500 for the whole household. So been a pretty sweet deal, been able to help a lot of people out with that. And if you want a quick quote and some information, hit me up, 218-969-1380. I can get you all the information you need to see if this is a good fit for you. That's Impact Health Sharing. So Bert, did you do any racing this week? Did you go to Shawano? Anything going on in eastern Wisconsin?
I did go to Shawano, but unfortunately it started raining probably about an hour before the races were about to start. It was beautiful all day, and then it started raining, and then it rained a little bit harder, and they finally pulled the plug. I mean, before anybody even got their cars out of the trailer, they pulled the plug, and it rained on and off all night. So it was definitely the right decision.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of that went around. We did get a few races in over in my neck of the woods, and Kraus, I know you guys had the weekend off. Did you get that? Did you have a demo this weekend? Did you get that in, or?
Yeah, we did. We had a demo derby on Friday. It's the Douglas County Fair going on over here at Viking. So we had a bunch of stuff. We only run one event, but we had a tractor pull on Wednesday, lawnmower demo on Thursday, then the Viking Speedway demo derby on Friday, and then Chris Jansen was in town. They did a big concert on Saturday. So busy week. I was out at the track pretty much every day, making sure stuff's going on. Successful demo, a great crowd. Place was jam-packed. Decent car count. So overall it was a good night, and you got to do nights like that and try to keep a little money in the checkbook.
So go ahead, Bert.
I have to add, I have never heard of a lawnmower demo before. How does that work?
So basically, you take lawnmowers, Bert, no different than there's John Deere's out there, there's Simplicities out there, there's Toros out there, there's Aulis Chalmers out there, there's any kind of regular riding lawnmower. No zero turns. We haven't got that far yet to start destroying those. So they build a little halo bar up over the top of the driver. And then you can actually beef them up a little bit. And as soon as you get tipped over, you're done. So it's it's pretty wild, actually. They had 16 to 18 of them out there. And it gets pretty wild. Some guy won it in a John Deere, so I was there. It's you have to look it up. The lawnmower demos are getting pretty popular over in this area.
Okay.
Well, I got
I'm
two things here. I got two things here, Bert, on this. Number one, probably going to get in trouble for this, but my mom should probably enter the lawnmower demo. I remember when I was a little kid, their house was on a hill, right? And she's tooling around on the riding lawnmower, and she smacked wide open into the side of her minivan. And I gave her crap for a long time, and probably not the wisest thing to do to pick on mom. So the second thing is I actually had a fan feedback come in because, they heard on the show there's a demo at Viking, and they said, did Jeff Kraus win the demo? We've seen him drive. Did he win the demo? So, Coach Kraus, did you win the demo?
I did not. I ran the demo derby, so there's a difference between actually being in the demo and I didn't. So we did have one fight. I will say that.
Nice.
And it started on the track, and I missed it. I was doing something. So a couple of the guys in the front wheel drive builders cars, the guy kept hitting him in the driver door, kept tapping him, and not really vicious. And they were flicking each other off during the red flag. They were yelling at each other during the race. Then all of a sudden, after the race was over, I heard, we need security back in the pits. So I walked back there. I grabbed one of my board members, went back there, and of course, my guy running the demo started throwing everybody out. I said, you go run the show, okay? I'll take care of the fight in the pits. So I walked back there. I heard both stories, the side of the stories, and I said, here's the deal. If you're going to throw a punch at my racetrack, you grab the other guy and you go out on the front straightaway and you let the whole world know that you guys are going to fight. Don't do it back in the pit area. And everybody started laughing, and it was nothing. The guy threw a punch. It is what it is. There was nothing too crazy going on. So I just said, listen, go fight on my front stretch. Don't fight back in the pits. That's not where we want you fighting. Bad stuff can happen back there. So can't have a demo derby without a fight.
Yeah, they had an enduro up in Rapids, so I was up there for this weekend. We had the Hall of Fame night up in Hibbing. Friday night, went over to the Grand Rapids Speedway. They had an enduro race over there and kind of had it worked out. I ended up running Eric Anderson's Midwest Mod on Saturday, but Friday we were going to go test. So it rained all freaking day, of course, and then it rained off and on during the enduro. They had a couple fights too, and there was a couple trying to scrap in the pits, and Bob Broking went back there, and he's never kind of backed down from anything. He's kind of he's that guy. He's old school, and he looked at both of them. He says, "If you guys don't settle down, I'll kick all your asses right now. Like literally, like this is gonna be done. Like I'll fight all of you. I'll punch every one of you." And they all kind of looked and they shut up and they quit. And I'm like, well, that's the Bob that I know right there. But there was a hell of a fire. Oh my God. One of those things exploded. Fuel cell got hit. I don't know if you've seen it online or whatever. It was kind of floating around. The flagman Dale LaPlante has it on his Facebook page, but a couple people got burned. They got out of the car. I don't know how bad the burns are. One of them went to the hospital, but holy balls, the flames were really high. Was going to test the Midwest Mod guys on Friday. Got there, and I'm like, holy shit, the track is wet. It is muddy. Typically muddy for an enduro, but it was extra muddy because of the rain. And we kind of stood around. We watched a little bit, hung out with Puka. We walked through the fair and got done with the enduro. And the grader operator, thanks to Fred, he said, you know what, I'll grade it for you. Try to smooth it out, right? So he did, and you know how it is. You get really heavy clay, it kind of balls up when it's too heavy, and he tried his best. And I got in the car, and I went about, I don't know, 30, 40 laps, kind of rolling it in, kind of packing it in, trying to get a line. Got the helmet on, just about ready to start testing, and the rain come down again. I'm like, shit. Like, well, there goes that, So thanks to Fred, right? I mean, he tried like hell to give me a track to practice on, but it just didn't work out. And Saturday went over to Hibbing, and man, what a day. Unbelievable. I mean, I've seen a lot of Hall of Fame nights, and there's been, multiple tracks that have had them. You guys have them, and I don't know who was a bigger crybaby, me, Jay Kittner, or Kelly Esty, but I mean, you can tell that racing meant just a little bit to us, and we were super, super emotional. And I couldn't even look up at the family, up at everybody. I kind of had to look down because every time I looked up, I'd about lose my shit. And it's like, but I mean, it was really cool. I mean, I bet you there had to have been about 100 people or better from my group that came and kind of came from multiple different states, a lot of pit guys, family members. Really appreciate them being there. It was really a great night. My daughter there kind of helped coordinate everybody and get everybody there. And Eric let me run the car, and well, I had to channel my inner Jeff Krause. The One to Go show, we got to represent. We're kind of in this together. So if Jeff's doing it, I'm doing it. So I had to hit everything, and I had to not finish races. That's what I did. Started 7th in the heat, and it was heavy. I mean, it was just one lane. I mean, not their fault. It rained all night. It rained in the morning. Cushion was kind of one lane off the bottom. Started 7th, wheeled that bitch all the way up to 7th. We were bolted. Went absolutely nowhere. And started 20th in the feature. And so Eric looked at me, he says, drive this thing, give her, you don't get many opportunities. You haven't raced for a while. So put the hammer down. And I know we passed 6, 7 cars in the first 2 laps and split a couple guys coming off 4. I'm like, oh, this thing's feeling pretty sporty. And I poke it into one right in between 2 cars, and somebody spun out a few cars ahead, come down across, and I tattooed him with the right front. And ouch. I mean, it tore some shit up. I felt bad for Eric. He definitely spent some money on that one. And he's like, not your fault. I watched it a bunch of times, and you start in the back of a B-mod feature, I guess that's kind of how she rolls, right? That is what it is. But car felt pretty sporty. I got to be honest. I'm like, I think we were going to kind of make some noise, get up in the mix a little bit there. But I've officially made, I don't know, not even a complete night in the last 2 years between the 2 times I tried to race it. But super good night. Mark Tremberth, guys, does a hell of a job with putting everything together, and congrats to the other recipients of getting into the Hall of Fame, the other inductees. But just a great night up in Hibbing. We were there pretty late, so saw a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time. Just really fun being up at the Hibbing Raceway. So let's get to it. Lots of stuff happened. Big week. Oh my God. I mean, the news and the craziness that has happened in the last week. I mean, some good, some bad, but there's been a lot of stuff, right? So let's get into our top 5 stories of this past week, brought to you by our friends from Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, right there in Ashland, Wisconsin. Proud sponsor, the #1 series in all of Wissota racing, the Northland Superstock Series. And they do everything. They build a Galloper chassis, sell parts at a lot of racetracks, custom fabricating, sandblasting, powder coating. They're the go-to for powder coating in the area for sure. But Chris and the gang up at Fastlane Motorsports, just top-notch people. If you need anything racing related, fab related, get a hold of them, guys. They'll take really good care of you. So number 5, guys, news came out just literally. It's Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night. We're doing the show. News came out here just a couple hours back. Wissota was with a press release. The Hoosier Tire and Wissota extending their contract for 5 more years. Now, not a lot of info. Some are saying, super vague and all that. And it's like, I did talk to somebody involved with that, and they said they threw it out there, and just to let everybody know that, hey, we're going to be on Hoosiers again, so you don't need to deplete your inventory. And they got the proposal. They went over the proposal with Hoosier. They went over the proposal with American Racer. I don't know any of the numbers. I don't know any of the details. Haven't seen a thing, but they felt that the deal with Hoosier Tire was going to be the better option. And they said as soon as they get the actual contract back, everything signed, ink done, there will be a press release kind of detailing what everything is, but they want to make sure that part's done. So they threw it out. Krause, I got to ask you this. Should they have just waited until they had everything signed, sealed, delivered, and all the info before putting that out? I mean, I get what they're doing, but holy shit, right? I mean, we literally just posted, like, here's the info on the One to Go show page. Nothing, just like, here's what's happened. And it took on a life of its own. And I mean, if there's a Hoosier Tire post on Facebook, let's just face it, they don't really have a good track record. They got smoked and shredded, and holy shit. Should they have waited maybe till they got a little bit more details to post that? What do you guys think? First Krause, then Bert.
Yeah, horrible timing. This right now, you need to be locked in with the Wissota 100. All eyes need to be on the Wissota 100. We don't need press releases about anything. I mean, I get it, but just put that beside. Let the season get over. It don't matter if you post it August 20th or you post it October 15th. It don't matter when you post it. So That's my only thing. I just thought it was bad timing as far as it goes. Obviously I'm a driver, I'm a promoter. There's a lot that goes into this. Drivers, would you please settle down? You guys are just flying off the handle. There's more that goes into this than just you drivers. Okay. Because there's three people involved with this. There's the drivers, there's the association, and there's the racetracks. And the racetracks are involved in this because we do get a kickback from Hoosier every year, and that's a big deal to a lot of racetracks. So there's a lot more that goes into this than just, hey, it's the drivers. And I've sat in meetings. They've all said our number one concern right now is the price of the tire. We want to do what's best for the drivers, and I 100% completely agree with them. And I believe that they're going to make the right decision. So I wasn't too excited about the timing of that coming out. Like you said, it's way too much negative right now. We don't need that. We need to be focused on the WISSOTA 100, getting that pumped up, getting some videos out there, doing some promo stuff, getting everybody excited for the WISSOTA 100, not what tire we're going to run next year.
Bert, any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I agree with Kraus as far as the timing. I don't think you should release something until you're ready to release the details of what it is. Because if you make an announcement but don't release the details at the same time, this is what happens. People start, it just takes off on its own, and people start assuming things, and that's just not good for anybody.
Yeah, and I will say this. I mean, let's just be completely honest, right? We're not afraid to call a spade on this show. It just is what it is. So when the details come out, we'll look it over. We'll look at it, and if we think it's a good deal, we'll give them props. If we feel like they just screwed everybody over, we'll drop the hammer. That's just what we do. But I will say this, that some of the board members involved with this decision are new this year, right? They're new board members, and they kind of took this on, business-minded people, and they said, look, they weren't real happy with what happened the last 2 years with raising the tire cost 9% for no particular reason. That was not a WISSOTA board deal. That was several promoters made that decision. Not all the promoters voted for that. Some did. And the board members, and especially the new ones, are like, holy shit, that was ridiculous. Why did we do that? So they knew that, and they were trying their best. And like I said, I don't know any details, but they were trying to use that as a bargaining chip. Like, hey, we did you right here the last couple of years. You better fricking sharpen your pencil. So I'm as curious as everybody else is to see the details of this deal. I don't anticipate it being for a couple of weeks. It sounds like they're actually going to post the details here before the WISSOTA 100. So that could be good, right? If the details are good, great. Then everybody be positive. Hey, that's a good deal. But if they're a little bit sketchy, that they might want to wait till possibly the end of the season. So I guess more info to come on that, but Hoosier and WISSOTA partnered up for the next 5 years. All right, number 4. We did a little press release last night. We had just a quick little update, breaking news. The Ironman Shane Sabraski got injured here this past Saturday. Sounds like he tore his bicep, and I did talk to Shane again today. He goes in Wednesday. It's Tuesday show. Hopefully it'll be up Wednesday morning. But 5:30 p.m. he's going in for an MRI on that to get the full details. Probably take a day, maybe 2 days after that to get the actual results on that. Best wishes to him. But Bert, I'm guessing you probably saw that little video me and Kraus did.
Yeah.
I mean, when you saw that, when you heard the news, I mean, let's face it. I mean, I don't know how to say it, and I don't want to keep pumping up his ego or whatever, but Shane Sabraski wins a lot of races, right? I mean, in anything that he drives, he's a national championship contender in every single class. And when it comes invitational season, that dude makes some noise. He's going to be in contention to win every time he jumps onto the racetrack. He's one of the biggest stars in WISSOTA racing. When you heard the news that, holy shit, his season might be in jeopardy, torn bicep, what went through your head?
Well, I mean, it definitely shakes up the WISSOTA landscape as far as some of the points battles that he is involved in. So, racing wise, it affects other people other than, other drivers other than just him. Watching your video, I didn't realize that if you don't take care of that right away, that you can have long-term issues with that. So if that's the case, I mean, I think he's got to get it taken care of, because you don't want to have issues going on into the future.
Yeah, for sure. And it's Shane Sabraski. You know, like I said, he won't listen to the doctor. He'll get the surgery done, but I'm guessing he'll just wrap it up. You know, just like Kraus is a hockey guy. That's what hockey players do. It's like, I just got 7 stitches. Can I go out next shift there, coach? I'm ready to go. That's how he play. That's how he races. He's kind of the same thing. But best wishes to him. Hoping for some good news. Hoping to see 7A back out there. I'm sure he'll be out there. But I guess we'll see what happens here in the coming days. Number 3, speaking of that, it's crunch time, right? I mean, literally, there's one regular weekend of WISSOTA racing left, and then it's invitational time. We're literally a week removed from Silver 1000 kicks things off up in Proctor, Minnesota, and then it's invite time. Let's just face it, okay? Track championships are coming to an end, and then the national title race. Kraus, you know as well as I do, you've been in some battles as well. Points get a little tougher to come by after Labor Day weekend when you get all them invitationals, you get bigger car counts, you get top tier drivers racing against each other. I kind of went through and I looked at some of the championship battles here. So in the late models right now, because of that extra bonus point, 26 cars and over, it is going to take a minor miracle for anybody to beat Tyler Peterson. He's about got that deal locked up. Peterson, Sabraski, Strand, probably going to be your top 3. Sabraski has had a really good rookie year. Dustin Strand has been dang near unbeatable up in the NLRA region. The biggest, probably the most competitive points battle, guys, the WISSOTA Modifieds. So Mike Stern's got the lead in that deal right now. But second place currently right now, they're tied. Now, if you look at my race pass, you look at WISSOTA, it's going to be different. But I am not like WISSOTA, right? I don't look at it and go, well, we'll update this 2 weeks later. The actual points, Cole Chernosky, Buzzy Adams are tied for second. Okay, they're tied. Shane Sabraski on the outside looking in. Now, if Shane's injury doesn't hamper him too much, he is in a very good position with what he's chucking to make a late season bid to dethrone the championship hopes of Mike Stearns. Now, I told Stearns today, coach, I was talking to Stearns this morning. I'm like, so I expect to see your ass in Thunder Bay on Wednesday, Grand Rapids or Wilmer on Thursday, Aberdeen Friday, Saturday, Casino Sunday. He goes, oh, I'm not going to travel up there. Oh my God, that's too far. I don't know what the hell these guys are thinking, right? I'm like, literally, you have all kinds of opportunities your whole life to just make more money and do your thing. If you're in contention to win a national title, you're leading this stage of the game. There's one regular season week left. Do you do everything that it takes? Like, I got to go get these freaking points. What do you do there?
Here's what I do, Ryan, right now. If I got a chance to go run for a 113-point show against 26 cars or more, I'm getting my butt to that race because it's going to come down to that in a couple of these classes. So hopefully these drivers are paying attention about full fields with that extra bonus point now. Get 26 plus cars. You get a couple 113s right now, you could solidify yourself as a national champion. So, hey, and I get the traveling part and staying close to home, but eventually you got to look at it and say, hey, what's going on here? Where do I got shows? What can I do? Where do I need to go? Where's my competitor going? There's a lot going into this. So you better put your thinking hat on if you're getting serious about winning a national championship right about now.
Little drama in the modifieds too. So a couple weeks back, Miller had a doubleheader. They ran a Friday, Saturday deal. They were going to run a doubleheader the week after, but WISSOTA had an oversight and Miller and Huron were running against each other, literally like 40, 50 miles apart. So that obviously can't happen, right? Miller's not going to get any cars. The Huron guys aren't going to go. So Miller decided the week prior, well, screw it. Let's just run our doubleheader the week before. They run a Friday, Saturday the week before. Aberdeen was off for the fair. And there's a lot of championship contenders there, right? You got Skorcheski and Becker in the late models. You got Stearns in the modifieds, Brooksick in the street stocks. And Stearns wins that night at Miller. Guess what? WISSOTA informed him no WISSOTA points that night. So he had no idea. So if you're a driver, right, if you see it on the schedule, now keep in mind, this was on their schedule for quite a while. They had changed it. It was on their schedule for quite a while. It wasn't just a last minute, let's run deal. But Miller, the racetrack, whoever the promoter is, they forgot to reach out to WISSOTA and be like, hey, we want to add this show. They had it on all their marketing materials. They had it on My Race Pass. They had it everywhere. They forgot to get a hold of WISSOTA. How upset would you be if you're Mike Stearns and you end up losing a national title because the one feature win that you got taken out because of an oversight? Whose fault is that? Is that WISSOTA's fault? Is that Miller's fault? I mean, the driver's not going to sit and like look at, well, did they get a hold of WISSOTA to make sure that show's legit? I mean, that's not on the driver. It's on the frickin' My Race Pass. It's on the schedule, right? So, I mean, how pissed off would you be if you're Mike Stearns, you lose by 1 point at the end of the year because you had one show taken away?
You're
Well,
going
I
to
would
be,
say,
go ahead. You go. No, Bert, you can go ahead.
okay. I was just going to say, I mean, to me, it's the promoter's fault. I mean, if it's their responsibility to connect with WISSOTA to get it to be a WISSOTA sanctioned show, it's on the promoter. And from the driver's standpoint, I would be very upset because if it's on all the schedules and everything, if that's a WISSOTA track, you're just assuming that, it's a WISSOTA show.
God dang, I hope it does not come down to that. That would be awful. That would be that one would sting. Let's just put it that way. And it could. I'm telling you right now, that title race in the modifieds is close. It could come down to that one race. And man, that would be super unfortunate. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, WISSOTA's kind of got their procedures, and if they let one track, I mean, I get it. I mean, I get kind of where they're at, but man, that's a tough pill to swallow if you're Mike Stearns right now. All right, super stocks, Dexton Cook. Now, let's be honest. Okay, nobody's happy that Shane Sabraski's hurt, except maybe Dexton Cook. Because if anybody can go out and win 15 straight super stock races, it's Shane Sabraski. Okay. Like he had like 8 in a row going into last weekend. Now, Dexton Cook's got a nice lead, pretty nice lead. Kurt Myers has had a pretty good season, but I think he's just too far behind. Shane Sabraski was the one guy that we were talking, man, if he runs out through invitational season, he could be right in contention and he could absolutely ruin the day for Dexton Cook. Do you think that Shane Sabraski is going to park one of the cars? Do you see him running all 3? Do you think that maybe that super stock's going to be laxed? Is this deal over for Dexton Cook?
Well, I think it's going to depend on what the diagnosis is for Sabraski as far as his injury. If he has issues wheeling the car, he's going to have to concentrate on, this is just my opinion. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, but, concentrate on the ones that he has a better chance of winning championships with. But, we call him, he's an Iron Man. So, it wouldn't shock me if he did go out there and win a whole bunch.
Kraus, did Dexton Cook let one slip away at Granite City on Sunday?
Yeah, he definitely did. Really good race, actually. Was watching there a little bit, and he was running the high side and getting everybody, and Dylan Nelson kept poking his nose down on the bottom. I think Dexton kind of dropped to the bottom there, trying to do some blocking and missed his mark, getting a little bit in 1 and 2, and then Dylan got right up to him and gave him the bump and run. Is about as clean, dirtiest job you could do to pass somebody. Does that make sense? Clean,
it was
dirty.
it was a finesse bump and run. It wasn't a 29 star. I'm gonna rip your rear clip off the car. It was I'm just gonna nudge you up a little bit, rolled underneath them. Dexton came down to maybe close the door. Dylan said, "Door's open. I'm taking what's there." Drives off to the win. I get it. Dexton was pretty upset about that deal, right? Pretty upset. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't go down to block in 1 and 2, he probably wasn't close enough to do that in the first place. But yeah, that was a tough one to swallow. He should have probably won that one, and Dylan got her done. Midwest Mods. We had a guy in the not hot list last week, boys. David Simpson. I said, I don't know. I think he's going to let this deal slip away. Here comes Joey Jensen. Well, Bert, what happens when we put somebody on the not hot list?
They tend to go out and win.
Oh, he didn't win one, he didn't win two, but he won three. Big, big weekend at the end, mid part of August here, end of the regular season. Three massive wins for his championship hopes for David Simpson. Jensen winless on the weekend. Lucas Rodin, I don't know if he won. Maybe he won one, but oh my God, that right there was a much, much needed win or a set of wins for David Simpson. Street stocks right now, Braden Brower is absolutely on fire. 28 wins on the year. He has got a absolute massive lead right now in the Wissota Street Stock divisions. It could get really close for second though, guys. Right now, Rob Petrov's got 19 wins, and I think he's won like 5 or 6 of his last 7. Out west, he's been good. Colton Brower keeps on winning. Maria Brooksick has been really strong. Braden Brower's kind of got a stranglehold on the championship. Here's where the drama comes in. Mod Force. Me and Kraus been talking about this the last couple of days. So, Bert, you've heard us talk about Dean Larson making all the trips west. He's got 30 wins. They take your best 20 shows. But he's got a lot of low car count stuff, 4 or 5 cars. So if somebody from Minnesota stays around home, gets bigger car count, they hit 20 wins, they're in the hunt, right? Well, Dean Larson, 30 wins. Tommy Bowden, 14, should have 16 wins, but now he officially has 0 wins. He wins up at the Grand Rapids Speedway last Thursday, and I didn't think nothing of it. I'm just kind of looking through my race pass at some results. I see DQ behind TB81 with no racing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, well, that's interesting. He got DQ'd, didn't race. It must have been a speed infraction. Well, yeah, 30-day suspension, $1,000 fine. I think 1,000, maybe 500 in Mod 4's, loss of all national points. I'm like, oh my God, what frickin' happened? Unwritten fucking rules again. Are you out of your fucking mind? Right? Literally, like I am telling you right now, I would burn somebody's house right to the ground. Okay? They can't stop fucking with this guy. Like it literally pisses me off. So earlier this year, we talked about it. They DQ'd him one night because his ball joint was bolted on the wrong side of the A-frame, which does nothing, right? Guys, Bert, you probably don't know anything about a carburetor. I'm going to guess. Maybe you do. Do you know anything about a carburetor?
Nothing technical.
All right. I didn't think so. So there's air bleeds on a carburetor. Now keep in mind, okay, Mod 4s, street stocks, Midwest mods, super stocks all can run a Holly 500 4412 carburetor. Okay. Essentially, they all run the same carb. They can run the same carburetor. Now, they have air bleeds inside the body of the carburetor, which they're more for idle than they are for anything, right? So on about half of the brands that sell like racing 4412 carburetors, that's what everybody runs, right? The air bleeds screw in. About half of them press in. It makes no difference whatsoever. It's literally how they're put in there, right? You can change them either way. It literally makes no difference at all. But here's the deal. In a couple of those classes, it said in the rules that adjustable air bleeds that you can have it. You can have, I don't remember what the exact wording is. It doesn't say screw in, but it says, what is it, adjustable? Is that what it is, Kraus? Is that the word for it, for the air bleeds? Essentially, they can change the air bleeds out. Nobody does. I ran classes with Holly 500s forever and never changed my air bleeds ever. Like literally never, right? So in the Mod 4s, it doesn't say you can, doesn't say you can't. He gets teched in Grand Rapids by our lovely Kenny, the tech guy from Central Minnesota. That guy, I tell you, he's like makes Billy look really good. Let's just put it honest, right? So he looks at it, he says, that's illegal. It's like, what do you mean that's illegal? Well, you got screw in air bleeds. Show me in the rule. It's just a Holly 500, same car. He's like, well, that's legal in all the other classes. It's not legal in a Mod 4. Well, what the hell sense does that make? Mod 4 guy could very well go buy a carburetor from a Midwest mod guy. You think just put it on and race it. He's like, show me in the rule book where it says I can't have that. Like, I show me. He's like, well, we're looking. It doesn't say it in there. Well, and then their argument is like, well, show me where it says you can. What? What are you talking about? So they are, if it was a huge advantage, let's just be completely honest. If it was a huge advantage, every single Holly 500, right, would have screw in air bleeds, every one of them. Willie's carburetors don't come with screw in air bleeds. What carburetor were you looking at, Kraus, yesterday that comes with them? There's a couple you were looking at. Like BLP, was it? Or
Yeah, I run BLPs and they got screw in air bleed.
yeah. And how many times in the history of you racing have you changed your air bleeds on your super stock?
I would have to say 0.
Right. So it makes no difference. They are literally targeting this guy, right? Like this should be a lawsuit. Quite honestly, this guy should flat out sue WISSOTA, Kenny personally. They should sue the tech committee, absolutely, without question. This is ridiculous. They are literally ruining a driver's season. He was within 4 wins away of 20 with a lot of racing season to go, with a legit chance to win a national championship for the 2nd straight year. And they're going to disqualify this guy for something that's not even in the fucking rule book. How can this possibly happen? I just don't understand. Your thoughts?
Well, you made the comment that he said, show me where that's illegal, and well, show me where it is legal. I mean, the U.S. justice system, it's you're innocent until proven guilty. It's on them to prove that he was guilty, and if it's not in the rule book, how can you prove that he's guilty?
That's exactly it. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, we're gonna have to call Billiam. He's gonna have to come back out in full force. I personally shot a text message to many of the WISSOTA board. I didn't hear back, of course, I didn't hear back, but I shot a message out to several of the WISSOTA board members. I'm like, this is embarrassing and unfortunate. You literally flat out cannot ruin a guy's season over unwritten rules. Okay, they already screwed over Dexton Cook last year because of the unwritten rules deal. And how do you know what you can run? Like literally, if you're a brand new Mod 4 guy, right? You're a brand new. Think about this. You're a young kid. Kraus, you got a buddy that's a Mod 4 guy that's just kind of got into racing, right? So let's say this guy gets into racing and looks in the rules. It says, hey, I can run a Holly 500 carburetor. And you're like, well, shit, I got Johnny's car here. He's not racing anymore. I got one. Why don't you take this one and run it? And all of a sudden he goes out, gets his first win, and he's like disqualified. He's like, well, how the hell? It doesn't say you can't even. How the hell do you even know what a rule is if it's not in the rule book? This can't happen. This is just absolutely, we went over this last year. It just cannot happen. It just, nothing grinds my gears more than like absolute, like literal overreach, right, by authority. And this is another example of that. I really hope the WISSOTA board steps in on this deal and they get this deal right, because even if they come out this week and they say, hey, yeah, we're going to overturn this, they already fucked them out of the points at Granite City. And Granite City actually has a really nice point fund over there on a Sunday night. He was leading the points there and he got screwed out of that, didn't race, so he's already been screwed. So this is just absolutely ridiculous. And I hope they get it right for Tommy Bowden, because, he's just out there racing. So Kraus, what do you got?
Well, the funny thing is, we were reading the super stock rules, and the super stock rule says you can have removable air bleeds if you change your carburetor over to ethanol. Okay. Well, the Mod 4s can run ethanol. So why would it not be the same rule? Okay. And I order a BLP carburetor. I usually get it either Briscoe gets them from here. We get them from CNC Machining in Brookings, South Dakota. And it's an actual WISSOTA carburetor that comes with screw-in air bleeds. You know what I mean? So, and you can run the same carburetor on the Mod 4s as you can on my Superstock. Why would the rules not be the same? It just makes zero sense. Why it is different in the rule books from class to class is beyond me.
Absolutely agree. Pure Stock's coming down to the wire here. Brent Mindock, Dustin Puffy, my little buddy Chaston Finkbone. They're going to have a good battle coming to the end. Not a lot of races for the Pures. And then you got a local guy there leading your track points, Jeff Roner, leading the Hornet National Championship race. Justin Chalitsky trying to track him down for another natty. So kind of got a cool one, guys. So Kraus, what do you think about tying for a track championship win?
There's no ties in anything.
All right. Bert, your thoughts? I mean, you're like, what do you think? Is a tie a good thing ever for a track championship?
No, Shawano Speedway, there's a couple of instances in their history where they had drivers tie for championships, so it's a co-championship. I've known other tracks when there's a tie, it goes down to whoever had the most feature wins, and that's who the champion is. To me, you have to have one champion.
Well, let's change the question, okay? Because there is one scenario where it's kind of neat. Red Cedar Speedway, they have co-champions in the late model class for 2024. John Canta and Jim Carlson. So John Canta, he's I think 70, right? Jim Carlson is 68, 69 years old, never won a championship ever, right? I don't believe he's ever won a championship. So if you're Jim Carlson, kind of cool to be like, I guess I tied the championship with one of the best to ever strap in at the Red Cedar Speedway. So kind of I guess it's more meaningful for Jim Carlson to win that championship than it is for John Canta, because hell, that guy's won a ton of championships, but kind of a neat deal over in Red Cedar Speedway. I'm not typically for a tie, but if I'm Jim Carlson, I'm like, well, shit, I'll take that tie with John Canta all day long. NLRA, Dustin Strand, we keep an eye on that NLRA late model points up there. Challenge Series, we'll talk about that here next week. All right, so a lot of battles coming down. I think that, Kraus, is this the final week for track points at Viking, or do you have track points on Labor Day weekend up there?
No, we're done. We're season championship this Saturday.
This coming Saturday. So yeah, a lot of track championships. Good luck to all the drivers out there right now that are sitting in contention to win a track championship. I know there's a lot of drivers that are like, wow, I don't really race for it, but there's some drivers that do. And I know some drivers out there, Tristan Labarge, for example, he got put to the back, came from dead last in the Superstock feature, drove up to second. And by him getting into second, passing Andy Labarge, he went from 2 points out to a 2-point lead going into the final night. So good luck to everybody trying to lock up their track championships here this coming weekend. All right, guys. Number 2, let's shift gears over to super late model action. Career weekend for the Squirrel, Brian Shirley. Holy shit. Like, the smart money was on Bobby Pierce to kind of win everything this weekend. Instead, Brian Shirley 3 for 3 at Highland and both nights at Maquoketa in World of Outlaw late model action. Did you guys get a chance to take in any of the World of Outlaw late model races this past weekend?
Yeah, I watched the majority of them, and yeah, Squirrel is definitely, well, he's in a new Longhorn, I do believe. So he's definitely found something that works in that car, and it's good to see him running near the top. I mean, obviously, from my perspective, that team has Wisconsin ties because the owner of his team is from Wisconsin. So I'll always root for the Wisconsin people, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know about all that, but I mean, I guess I'm just gonna go with he's an Illinois guy. I'm an Illinois guy now, so I'll cheer for him that way. The Wisconsin ties, I think Cullen Motorsports should maybe move to Minnesota. I don't know. What do you think, Kraus? So the point battle.
Of course they should. Come on now, Bert. You're going to take claim just because the owner's from there? Yeah.
Nonsense. So the point battle right now, Brandon Shepard leading, and Sheppy had kind of closed that gap, or Pierce kind of closed that gap quite a bit going in, but he had a flat tire one of the nights, and Hoffman jumped back into second, Pierce back to third, 76 points separating the top 3, handful of nights left before the World Finals. Do you think this is going to come down to a 3-driver dance at Charlotte for the 2024 World of Outlaw late model title?
Well, that would be the hope. I mean, I love watching a close points battle, and we haven't had that for a while in the World of Outlaws. So it would be cool if it came down to that, and it's looking like it could.
I think so. So Lucas Oil Dirt late models, they had the topless 100 down at Batesville prelim night. I went to RTJ, and Bert kind of getting a little props there with one of his bold predictions. T-Mac getting her done on night number 2. Little controversy. Somebody jumped on the start, didn't they, Bert? Who was on the pole, jumped, got put back to third
Well,
on the
no,
start?
that was T-Mac on the first night.
Oh,
T-Mac
that was on the first.
he should have
Oh,
he should have gone 2 for 2 because he was on the pole the first night. And I mean, I rewatched that, and he was on the gas probably 2 car lengths before the stripe. But then I watched every restart the next night in the big show on Saturday, and everybody was doing that. But like T-Mac said in his post-race interview on Friday night, it looked really bad because Dale McDowell didn't go. So it looked like he really jumped. And they called it on him. And I was surprised that he wasn't more upset than he was, considering he hadn't won a race yet this year. Because I mean, that track was rubbered up pretty quick, and whoever got out into the lead on Friday night was going to win handily.
Carl, should you even call somebody for jumping when you don't give them a racetrack to race on? I mean, like, you pretty much got to pass on, like, I don't know, turn one, otherwise the race is over. I mean, nothing against Batesville or whatever, but my God, that was awful.
Yeah, it was. Them restarts are a tough deal on that deal with what to do. And, first start of the race, the original start, they got the start zone. And then after that, you can basically, once you get into turn 3, the leader starts the race. So, but you get those 1-lane rubbered up tracks on restarts. Oh, boy, it's everybody's on the brakes. They got the gas held wide open. They're squeezing the guy next to you. They're chopping. They're doing whatever they can to get in that rubber first. So tough deal. But what do you do? You know what I mean? It is what it is. But like you said, I think McCready showed a little different side there. Like Bert said, not complaining too much and lived with it and dealt with it and took home the next night and took home the big money.
Well, here's the interesting thing, guys, with the Lucas Oil points, is the points. So remember, it comes down, I think, isn't it right after Knoxville? And then it goes to I think that's the last one. Then they go to Brownstown for the first of the 7 races for the championship chase format. Well, RTJ is leading, Morana's second, and Jonathan Davenport is third. Now, they're pretty solidly locked into the top 3. T-Mac, after this past weekend, is 60 points ahead of Hudson O'Neal. So Huddy, right, of course, everybody knows he was driving Rocket 1. He leaves Rocket 1. T-Mac replaces him, and now T-Mac has a real opportunity, right? Real opportunity to literally knock the defending reigning champion out of the playoff contention. And let me ask you this. If it comes down to one race like it did last year, personally, I would not pick T-Mac in a 1-race deal. Wouldn't do it. Is there a better points racer in late models than Tim McCready? If he gets into that final 4 with a 7-race deal, his consistency, do you think he's got a real chance to win this deal?
Well, the way he's been driving over the last month, I think he definitely has a chance to win this deal. I mean, he's been with Rocket 1 for quite a while now, and it's taken them a little bit to get up to speed, but I think, I mean, T-Mac alluded to this at Cedar Lake. It was time for him to just trust Mark Richards with some of the setup stuff, even though he had never done that sort of setup before. It's just time to trust him and just drive. And he's definitely on the upswing right now, and he has all the, he has a full team behind him, so he won't be wanting for parts or anything, over that the last few races. So he definitely has a chance. And with RTJ with a new team, you don't know if he's going to be fired. I mean, he's been running pretty good the last few weeks, but that's a new team that he's racing for.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We got just a handful of weeks left to get to the final to the chase format. T-Mac right now locked into number 4.
Now, before we move on, I just want to say one thing. After watching the Topless 100 and watching the World of Outlaw shows, give me a bull ring in Illinois any day of the week.
There is no question about that. And
What was
number
wrong with the
one,
topless? What was wrong with the topless, Bert?
Well, the second night wasn't as bad.
Bert, there was one thing wrong with the topless. What was it? Why do we need 100 laps?
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't need 100 laps. Because Bert, you text right away. Oh, this is boring. Well, they're riding around, Bert. You know what I mean? But then after that restart, that was a really good race. And there was a cushion, and
Yeah.
you had to get after it. But once they started racing, it was much better racing. That's why you need 50 laps. You don't another. There you go again, Bert. That's another dull and boring 100 lap feature. Don't need it.
yeah, you got that man bun, Dan. I know he likes some long races. Take that, man bun, Dan. This is we are the anti 100 lap race team right over here. All right, number one, clearly, I mean, and it's not. I mean, it's really there was no bigger story than this. So Saturday it was announced Scott Bloomquist, the Voodoo Child, right? Probably, I mean, one of one, obviously Hall of Famer, obviously Mount Rushmore of dirt racing in general. Tragic, lost his life. A lot of speculation out there. I mean, my God, the rumor mill's going crazy. I mean, he crashed his airplane into a building on his own property on his land out there. Um, who knows what happened? I'm not going to be the one to speculate on the show, what happened or what didn't happen or whatever. I'm assuming there's an investigation to kind of see if they can figure that out. I don't know. But what was he, 61? Was he 61 years old? I think he was.
I think he would have been 61 in November.
Yeah, 61. So 60 years old. And yeah, just, I mean, when you first saw that news that Scott Bloomquist has lost his life, I mean, I thought it was fake. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Well,
I mean, that's what I thought.
well, that's what I thought too, because in the past I've seen on Facebook Scott Bloomquist has lost his life, and it's always been fake. So as soon as I heard it, I did a Google search online to see if I could find a credible source, and I could only find one source, but it was from what looked like a local newspaper down in that area. So it looked legit, and so then I started thinking it was real.
So when you guys think, and whichever one of you wants to go first, maybe Bert, we'll let you go first. After all this, you start to reflect, right, on, he's gone, right? It just, I mean, you've been to several World 100s, and that's his place, right? I mean, of all places, that's his. I mean, when you think Scott Bloomquist, what are some things that you think about, as far as his legacy and who he was and what he meant to dirt track racing?
Well, I mean, I, I, I mean, people make the argument it's between him and Billy Moyer as to who is the GOAT. I think Bloomquist is the GOAT. Every time he was at a track, you expected him to win. I mean, I went to, I'd go to Eldora and other big races or USA Nationals, and it's like, not that I had anything against Scott Bloomquist, but I wanted somebody else to win just because Scott Bloomquist always wins. But my first trip ever to Eldora was in 2004 for the Dream, and Scott Bloomquist won that night. So my first ever trip to Eldora, he won that race, and my friend that I go to the world or go to Eldora with, he was a big Bloomquist fan. So he would get tickets directly that's when drivers had sections in Eldora, and he would buy the tickets from Scott's mom. So we would sit with all the Bloomquist fans, and those guys are diehards. I mean, they are that year when he drove that silver car and he crashed in hot laps, and he didn't race all weekend because they had the rule at that time you couldn't go to a backup car. Fans left after hot laps. Some of his fans left because they were there to see Scott Bloomquist. They didn't care about anybody else.
I mean, that makes you think of, like, I mean, you think NASCAR, Dale Earnhardt was kind of 101, right? I mean, he was the biggest personality. I mean, this is as big of to me, this is as big of a tragedy, as big as a death as Dale Earnhardt was to NASCAR. This is what it was to the whole dirt racing world, not just dirt late models, right? Dirt racing across the board. I mean, Scott Bloomquist was the biggest personality in all of racing. And I remember being in Talladega, Dale Earnhardt Jr. blew his motor, and there was a whole bunch of people left halfway through the race. They're like, we're here to see Junior, we're gone. And yeah, that I can see that making sense there with Scott Bloomquist. Kraus, when you think Scott Bloomquist, what comes to mind?
Well, you said it when they said Dale Earnhardt. Um, I was I was never much of a Dale Earnhardt fan, and I was never really much of a Scott Bloomquist fan. But until all the streaming started, and kind of Bloomquist was still the GOAT. He is the GOAT. But then it was like it got to a point in his career. Is Bloomquist going to be there? Is Bloomquist going to be there? You know what I mean? He's the number one reason why dirt late model racing is what it is right now and being streamed and all that stuff. It just is. It 100% is. It's not anybody else. It's Scott Bloomquist. And he's still, if he ever pulled into a track, that's all everybody cared about. What's Bloomquist doing? What's going on? Is his battery going to fall out? Is he going to be late for hot laps? You know what I mean? It just, and that's what's really kept dirt late model racing going right now, and especially the streaming's really helped some things. And I think watching the documentary Flo did really brought into perspective to a lot of people about Scott Bloomquist. I think there's a lot of perception about who he is or what he did, and super smart guy, and seeing his dad with all those airplanes and then, and his farm and all that stuff. That really put into perspective who Scott Bloomquist is. And I think that really, really, really made everybody be like, oh, dirt late model racing is pretty cool. Scott Bloomquist is pretty cool. So that's kind of where I was at. I saw him put on a show one night up at Red River Valley Speedway. Him and Moyer and Burkhofer. There was a super stock special up there. I went up there. It was 2003. We actually ran last, but the power went out. I got on the road at 1:15, and it's the first time I've ever seen it, guys. They had a pit stop. Guess what it was for? Tear-offs. That's how wet, that's how muddy that place was. We packed that place, and they were running. Fargo's like, we're running. It was the old half-mile days. Ryan, you know how that place got when oh boy. I mean, they were ripping rear ends out of supers. It was crazy. And him and Burkhofer both had black cars. You couldn't tell who they were on the track because their cars were all black. So that's my one memory of Bloomer having a mandatory tear-off pit stop. And they put on a show, and I don't think either of them lived for 50 laps because they were wide open. Cars were destroyed, but at the end of the night, they had some fun. So he's definitely going to be missed. I think he's still going to obviously carry over some stuff here. It'd be pretty cool to see. The world's going to be unbelievable. The World 100 is. That's going to be absolutely. There's going to be a lot of people watching that deal. So super sad that he's gone, but he left us with obviously nothing but great memories.
Bert, are you going to the World this year?
Yes, I am going to the World, and actually, my friend asked me if I could get that Tuesday off to leave early because I didn't realize a Castro race that was rained out earlier this year. They're running on Wednesday, so yeah, I'll be there for the Castro race and the entire World 100.
Awesome. Yeah, when Bloomquist, you kind of think bad boy persona, right? I mean, obviously we know what he was on the racetrack, innovator. I remember seeing a car where all the roll bars were kind of like tapered back like wings on an airplane, like every single one of them that was above the roll cage. He's like, that's aerodynamic, and probably was trying to, keep people's focus off other parts of the car. Who knows? But he just thought like so many levels ahead of everybody else, just very innovative. But one thing that sticks out is, remember they just a couple of years back, they did that raffle for that car and that kid won it. And, he was pretty emotional on that deal. And Ben Shelton talked about, he had the opportunity to go to his shop and interview him. And he's like, I got to see the human side of him. In the sports world, in the racing world, we see, the flashes of what's going on, good or bad. That's all we see. But you don't really get to understand what the racers, the performers are like when they settle down for just a minute, and you can kind of kind of get inside to see who they are. And I never got a chance to. I never got a chance to really see who Scott Bloomquist was on the inside. But you hear some of these stories from people like Ben Shelton, and it's like, wow, he's just a racer. He's just a guy. He was passionate, and he lived life, I mean, wide freaking open, right? I mean, he literally had no fucks given. He was going to go do it. And that's just the way he was. I mean, he wasn't going to sit back and wait for something to happen. He made it happen every aspect of his life. So Bert, you had something?
Yeah, I got to interview him once. This was back in the 1990s when he raced at Shawano Speedway. I don't know if it was a Hell Tour race or a different race, but he won the feature that night at Shawano Speedway, and I was covering the race for the local newspaper. So it's like, well, I want to get an interview with the winner, but I had heard the stories on, he's this rough and gruff guy. So I went over by his trailer, and there was a line of kids, at least 10 deep. And so he was signing autographs. So I waited until he was done signing autographs. He signed autographs for everybody who wanted one. And then afterwards, I introduced myself, told him I was from the local newspaper and I'd like to do an interview if he had time. And he invited me into his hauler. We sat down in his hauler and I interviewed him while we were in his hauler. So, he was as nice as could be to me. Now, granted, he did win the feature that night, so he had reason to be in a good mood. But, I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you have any pictures of that or like a copy of the article or anything?
Oh, I'm sure I have the article somewhere. It's boxed up somewhere. But yeah, I need to go this winter. That's one of my projects is to go through all my boxes of racing stuff and find some of that stuff.
It would be kind of cool to see that for sure. So Scott Bloomquist, I mean, the GOAT, I know me and Changa go back and forth on that. Changa's a big Moyer fan, but I think we both agree that whether you put him one or two, it's those two on top. But you hear a lot of these drivers and they're like, man, Scott was so much different. It wasn't just racing. It was the fact that he built the cars and he was an innovator. And it sounds like he took everything apart and he could literally build every aspect of everything on his car. And that doesn't happen anymore. Not saying that there's not drivers out there like that, but that's not a thing. Somebody that smart and that innovative and that hands-on, that doesn't come around very often.
Well, and speaking of innovation, I mean that's because he didn't just when he went to a track, he didn't just race. The Lucas Oil Series used to come to Oshkosh Speed Zone like 10 years ago or so, and Bloomquist was usually there, and he talked to the promoters, and after the races were over, they let him go out onto the track and test. He would go out, make several laps, come back in, his crew would make changes, he'd go back out there, and this was after the race is over. So, he didn't just go to a track to race. If the track allowed him, he would practice afterwards too.
So a buddy of mine, Johnny Ralph, he actually did shocks. I know he worked for Barry Wright. He has his own shock deal over, and he's in Idaho now. But he actually got to work with Scott Bloomquist, and they went testing, and he had some data acquisition stuff on there. I forgot this story completely until you mentioned testing. He's like, he had a bottle of Crown, right? He drank Crown Royal, and they went testing, and he'd go out there, and that guy, I mean, it's Scott Bloomquist. He hit his marks every time, right? He could put down the same lap consistently better than anybody, right? That's why he was so good. But every time he would come in, he would take a nip off that Crown bottle, and by the time they got done testing, that Crown bottle is gone, and he never missed a beat. He's like, if I drank a bottle of Crown, I'd stuff it into the turn one wall. He goes, this guy never even missed a beat, right? So it's kind of a cool story that Johnny was telling me about that. And, when you think about personalities, right? I mean, this guy was polarizing. I mean, you either loved him or you freaking booed the shit out of him and you hated him. That's just the way it was. There was not many people that were like impartial, right? You take a guy like Devin Moran. I enjoy watching Devin Moran, but there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's Devin Moran. He's pretty good. He's not a lot of people have a high opinion on him. Pierce, on the other hand, I love Pierce. I hate Pierce. He's pretty polarizing, but he doesn't necessarily have that off-track persona, right, that Bloomquist does. So whether it's national or local, is there anybody that I mean, I don't think there's anybody that comes close, but take him out of the equation. Who's the biggest personality that you've seen both on and off the track in dirt racing?
Well, I mean, Turbo. I mean, obviously he's a little bit younger, but you know, he's pretty outspoken. His Facebook posts are pretty funny, and he likes to have fun and goof around and fun tour, all this and that. There's just none of that these days. It's just how the racing is. It's pretty you know, you got Mark Richards and the guys of the world that are there to win, and not that everybody isn't. And Turbo obviously is too. It's just a different. They're just different, you know. But like for the most part, you don't really have many guys like that anymore. But Turbo's kind of the only guy that I can think of.
How about from the past, though? Is there anybody you think from home tracks or locally? Did you guys have any personalities that really stuck out down there or no?
I mean, guys like Shane Howell, you know what I mean? You know, he's climbing fences and having fun. You know, Dean Larson's a personality as much as you want to say he's a little bit of an older guy, but he rides his bike around the pits. He's a hoot to talk to. He's climbing fences too when he wins and excuse me. So there's a couple guys out there, but for the most part, you don't too much social media, too much everything's filmed. So I think you're going to have a little bit less of that these days.
Bert,
Well,
how about you?
and I really can't think of anybody. I was just going to say, I mean, the thing with Bloomquist, though, was he could back it up. I mean, he wasn't just all talk. I mean, he could go out onto the track and he could back it up, which leads me to, I just want to mention this one thing. I mean, we've all seen the tarps on the back of the cars, you know, the drivers trying to hide their setups and stuff. I mean, Bloomquist would have a tarp over the entire back end of the car. But the thing is, I don't know if he did this at every racetrack that he went to, but you know, when I first started going to Eldora and we walked the pits, he didn't just have a tarp on his car. He actually had his pit area roped off so you could not even come close to his car. And, you know, it was just, you know, nobody else did that. But I mean, like I said, he could back it up on the track.
100%. And on a local level, you know, from my childhood, Tom Nesbitt, right? And not to
Yeah.
the level of Scott Bloomquist, but the Tom Nesbitt stories in the upper Midwest, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, up in Thunder Bay. Oh my God, right? I mean, there's a guy that backed it up. I don't know how many wins he has. It's over 500, probably over 700. He's got a ton of wins. National champion. He's won all over the country. But some of his off-track antics, right? I remember one night in Hibbing, guys, where he drove around the infield until it got so dusty they had to throw the red, right? That's a personality, right? He did that kind of stuff. And so Tom Nesbitt would be the only person I can think of that kind of had that persona off the track, but today there it's just gone. It's missing. Kraus is probably right. You know, social media, people watching, there's always a camera on you. You do this stupid stuff and everybody's kind of nervous to do it because somebody's gonna see it. And yeah, that's gonna be really missed because I think racing in general needs that. And that was such a big part of the sport, and he embraced that. You know, so Scott Bloomquist gone at 60, and it's just hard to say. You know, it's going to be interesting moving forward. I mean, we know that he kind of was on the downside of racing, but he was still heavily involved and one of the best to ever strap in. So we're going to miss that guy for sure. All right. So fan feedback, guys, brought to you by Hard Charger Performance Specialties. That's Nick Hoff out in Sydney, Montana. Nick's a good buddy of mine, been building engines for over 20 years, does a lot more than that. Gears, has a dyno out there, he does great work. He's the engine repairer for the crates for Wasota. So he can take care of that. His number, guys, 406-478-4437. You know, it's that time of year. You're starting to look towards 2025. And if you're looking, hey, I need to kind of change things up, I need a different engine program, give Nick a call. He does a great job. I've had success. Jeff Provenzino speaks very highly of him as well. And I tell you what, he's somebody that cares about winning and wants to do the right thing for racers. So give him a call for sure. All right. So a little follow-up, guys, from last week. We talked about Kennedy Swan getting her engine tore apart over at Ogilvy last week in post-race tech. And kind of wondering, did WISSOTA or anybody offer any money to help pay for any expenses? And I did hear from the team, and they said, no, we even asked, are you going to cover our cost to go there, gaskets, anything? And they even asked, and both the track and WISSOTA said, no, we're not giving you anything for it. So that's pretty unfortunate, if you ask me. Now, they did say that Tim's Automotive, where they got the engines done, he said, they said that, he took good care of them, treated them right on it. And he's like, well, how many people out there over the last little bit are like, oh, there's no way this 16-year-old girl's legal, right? There's no way she can be out whooping us. Well, they took her engine apart. It was legal. So there's that, right? So maybe that'll shut up some of the haters. And they said, at the end of the day, we didn't really like it, and kind of felt like maybe we got singled out. But it's good to see tech, right? I mean, if they're going to tech stuff and they're not sure, I guess at the end of the day, if you're going to take it apart and they want to make sure somebody's legit, it is what it is. So they weren't totally upset about the fact that they got their stuff torn apart, because they feel like teching should be done for everybody. So I'm a little disappointed, though, that nobody offered them up any money to help pay for them expenses, in my opinion. So, Kraus, we talked about some of the dumber rules that have come across the boards. We did a top 10 here a couple months back, them halo bars. So, Bert, are you familiar with what a halo bar is? So if
Above
you're
the head?
sitting no, yeah, that's
No.
kind of right. I think that's what they're called, is halo bars. You're sitting inside the car, and your A pillar, that front left roof post, you got that bar, and then you have on the roll cage, the down behind your left shoulder. Well, they made drivers add another, you got the halo above, another support to support that halo above the driver's head. And essentially the thought process is to keep somebody's right recorder panel out of the car. There's a couple different reasons for it. Well, we talked about how unsafe it is. Like, there's a lot of drivers complaining, like, holy shit, that tightens up the windows. The minute you start putting more stuff in that window opening, it gets tougher to get in and out of these cars. Now, I'm pretty sure I've been eating maybe Twinkies, ice cream, donuts, and all that for, I don't know, 50 years now, right? So gotten a little bit fluffier. Well, I'm going to go drive Eric Anderson's car, and he says, you better make sure you can get in this, because I'm quite a bit skinnier than you, and I have a really hard time. Well, I don't like the way they put theirs in. TRC put that one in. I think they should cut it out and redo it, because they put that halo bar, guys, literally. So if you're sitting in the car and you got your, Kraus, if you picture this, you got your left side headrest on your seat. Most people's halo bars is kind of even with the back, like right at the seat, right? That one is almost all the way to the front of the frickin' left side headrest. Oh my God. Getting in and out of that thing, I literally didn't sleep the night before, going, if this thing starts on fire, I'm not getting out. There's no freaking way. Okay. So I looked at that and I'm like, I'm here to tell you, Don Eichens, AJ Demo, Kraus, you're quite a bit taller, Joel Collins, some of these people that are taller, bigger, right? Zero chance you're getting in and out of that car. Not happening. There's no way. I got a bigger belly, but I'm here to tell you that I'm shorter. My shoulders aren't super wide, right? I'm thinner in the legs. Getting in and out of that, getting in was one thing, getting out, oh my God, it was ridiculous. So I talked to WISSOTA, I talked to one of the WISSOTA techs. I'm like, have you guys actually taken the time to see people get in and out of their cars with these things? Because I'm telling you right now that some people just randomly put them in and had no idea. They just wanted to add the bar, and they literally made their car a death trap. And I feel like at the WISSOTA 100, they should be looking at these cars going, if you can't get in and out of this thing, we got to figure out how you got to move your halo bar. Because if somebody gets trapped inside of one of these cars and can't get out and there's a fire and they burn up, I'm telling you right now, everybody's getting sued. Everybody. It is going to be an absolute disaster. And I don't want to see that, but I'm telling you right now, them halo bars, not done properly. AJ Demo, as you can imagine, was not happy when that rule. He's got to be what? He's got to be 300-ish, 6 foot, 4 maybe? I mean, he's a big dude, right? I mean, he ain't getting in and out of some of these cars. There's no freaking way. I'm assuming maybe the MV's got a little bit bigger window openings. I don't know, but I'm here to tell you, some of these cars, are extremely unsafe. Have you looked at many of those at your track down at Viking Speedway? What's your thoughts on this whole deal?
I haven't really looked. I know I had a discussion with the tech guys because they had the June 1st deadline. And the issue was a lot of guys were just finding bars and just welding them in there just so they could race. Well, that's not the way you need to do it. And, fortunately enough, I have TRE race parts and my dad, and we basically copied what was on Bailey Rosh's car, and my dad did it to both my cars. So, and I trust him and I trust his welding, as I know you do too, Ryan, because he's welded on your mod enough. So I'm fortunate enough, but like you said, there was guys digging in scrap piles at certain racetracks, and they just were welding bars in their car just so they could race, so they won't get DQ'd, Bert. And it's completely wrong. Here's the other thing: are you gonna put your car in the trailer? Let's say you live in Montana. Are you going to haul it over to MB Customs or haul it over to Affordable or TRC just to get a halo bar put in the car? You've now turned a $40 halo bar, which in mine end, well, it's a little bit cheaper than that because, like I said, I did it myself and I had the material. But just to put a halo bar in, no, you're going to sit there. Well, maybe mail me one or get me one or whatever it is. And then if you don't do it right, then what do you have to put up next, Ryan? Then you got to try to put your window net in there. A lot of them are blocking. A lot of them halo bars are blocking where your window net's going. It's a complete gong show right now. And hopefully at their next tech meeting, we can get this window net thing and this halo bar taken care of at the 100 and wrap our heads around it and get some common sense. And like you said, it's just not there. We got to make sure people can get out of their cars and they're not restricted by a halo bar or restricted by a window net or whatever it may be. So it's getting a little bit out of control right now. Hopefully we can get something done here at the 100.
Well, here's the next thing that's going to happen is you're gonna take somebody that was a smaller person, right? Smaller guy, smaller gal, maybe one of them 16, 17-year-olds that are small. Well, their seats are forward, so that means their halo bars are forward, right? Well, then all of a sudden they sell their car, and it could be to somebody that's younger, maybe not a lot of experience, but all of a sudden that person's 6'2", 265 pounds, and that halo bar's way forward, and they don't even think about it. They bought the car, they race that car all year. I'm just going to go ahead and race it. Now they just got themselves in a bad situation, right? So these halo bars, I mean, it's just not a good deal. That rule, it wasn't well thought out as like most of the rules in WISSOTA. So yeah, hopefully they can, hopefully that's something that gets addressed. Last thing we got here from Tim, NASCAR going to the Madhouse quickly, because we'll talk more about this, but your thoughts on NASCAR going to the Bowman Gray Stadium for the Clash to start the 2025 season. What do you expect there? Do you expect Madhouse type stuff, or what do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that they're going to an actual racetrack and not building a racetrack within a coliseum. But yeah, this place is known for crashes and fights and that sort of thing. And I mean, it's a non-points race, so I would expect a little push, bumping and pushing and that sort of thing.
I sure hope so. We want to see some brawls, right, Kraus? That's kind of what we're hoping.
Here's the deal, NASCAR drivers. Okay. If one of you doesn't hop in the gator and go flying across the infield and throw your helmet at somebody and try dragging somebody out of your car, you guys are going to get booed out of the stadium and you're not going to be allowed back. And whoever driver does that, you're probably going to put a t-shirt order in because you're going to sell out of merchandise that night. So put your hard hats on, NASCAR guys. Let's get after it. Let's put on a show. I'm expecting fireworks on the track, off the track. You're going to Bowman Gray Stadium. I want to see some fisticuffs.
Amen to that. All right, guys, let's jump into some rapid fire recaps. Oh, go ahead, Bert.
I do have one question. I had a driver ask me whatever happened with that. What was it? The front stub experiment that was taking place this year.
That's right. I forgot that you did have sorry about that. So what he's talking about is the prototype modifieds with the tubular front end. I'm guessing that Chris was asking about. Kraus, I know you have some information on this for the modifieds.
Yeah, so at the meetings, how has an aftermarket front stub for the modifieds? And it was brought to us by Russ Ebert, and how was there? Great presentation, great product. Then Billy originally appointed MB Customs SSR and JMR to build a car. And they all three said no. I have no idea why. It is what it is. So Jeff Flatten from Flat Out Performance and Turbine Chassis says, well, I'll build one. And they hemmed and hawed, and they end up getting a stub. And Ryan Flatten's new car that he's had out the last few weeks, and he's had a hot rod. That thing's been good. He was really good Friday night at I-94. He was good last weekend down, and 2 weekends ago down at Madison. And they have this new Howe stub on this turbine modified. And first thing Jeff Flatten told me, he said, this is a no-brainer. It saved me over 20 hours of manual labor building a race car, Bert. And it cost half as much. It bolted right into his jig. All the templates lined up. They have templates for all of it, so you can't cheat it. You can't do anything. Howe provided all that. And actually, we looked at it a little bit Saturday night with my tech guys and had it at Viking. They wanted to see how it was going to handle on a big half-mile track, obviously a little bit faster and things like that. So everything was good. So that's the only one out there. It's getting good results. It's, as of right now, it's holding up, Bert. And it's looking like that may end up being something towards the future that we can look at. It's going to save the racer money. I mean, it's going to save the chassis builder a ton of time building these cars. So, like I said, I've talked to Jeff Flatten from Flat Out Performance and talked to my tech guys over there, and everything's looking good.
Kraus must have got a phone call there or something. He kind of froze up. So must have got a phone call. So you said everything's looking good. I got to ask you this. Does it have the kick out like the mods have right now? Or is it more like a late model or a super stock where the frame doesn't kick out on the right side?
Yeah, it kicks out to a certain point. I don't think it goes all the way back. I think they had to put something in there, but it has the kick out all the way down so you can get your measurement for your 7 1/4. They had to add that and kind of work it a little bit. So, like I said, they tried to make it as close as to legal as possible. It is a little bit lighter. That was the one thing that they were worried about. And I don't know what they came up. I know they were going to add some weight and do some stuff like that, but it's like I said, saving money. That's the big thing, is what the number one thing right now. And they want to make sure it lasts.
Yeah, if it can truly save people money and it's easier to fix and easier to build, I'm for it. But I don't know much about it, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out over the next year or so, if anybody else builds one of them in the off season. All right, rapid fire recaps, a little who's hot, who's not, brought to you by our friends over at Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. Of course, Buck, the founder of Daytona 1, highly intelligent guy. I mean, in the lubricants industry, second to none. In the Hall of Fame for NASA, specifically for lubricants, a lot of great products out there. You can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out online. They sponsor the Gen X Late Model Series, and they have a lot of great products, including their tire treatment. Talking about Hoosier tires, I don't know if the tires are going to stay the same price, go up in price, not sure. We don't know, but we already know this. Where they're at today is already too expensive. Most weekend warriors cannot put new tires on every single week and continue to compete. Well, they have some products out there that get more life out of your tires. Learn about these products. Some of them you can run, some of them you can't. They have a cleaner that's legal in Wissota. The treatment stuff, they're not real big fans of that. But if you're a weekend warrior and you're like, screw it, I'm not buying new tires, this might be for you. You want to learn about it? Call Chad, 507-828-3536. He's the regional rep for Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. He can get you all the information you need. He can answer any questions. He can show you how the products work. And if you're a promoter, if you're on the Wissota Tech Committee, give him a call, get educated. they have some great products out there that I truly believe they're great for the sport, but anything to do with tires has been voodoo for a lot of years, but it all comes down to education. Do yourself a favor, learn about the products they have, and see if this is something that can really help weekend dirt track racing throughout the Wissota region. All right, so Bert, let's start with you. Some rapid fire recaps, maybe a little who's hot, who's not. What do you got?
Well, pretty much everything last weekend in eastern Wisconsin got rained out. The captain of the creek did take place in the a week ago. I can't remember who won though. It was a driver from Iowa.
Matt Avila. Matt
Okay.
Avila got that one done.
Yeah, so they had a good car count there. But the big news in eastern Wisconsin came out yesterday when Beaver Dam Raceway posted on their Facebook page that they are finishing this year's schedule as planned, but next year they will not be racing weekly. They're only going to have special events at their track next year.
Well, if some tracks have a special event every week, so maybe
Well,
that'll happen, right? One can hope. So, no, that seems to be happening more and more, right? I mean, there's less and less people involved with dirt track racing. You're not really getting into promoting a track to make money. You do it because you're passionate, and you can only take so much shit. And I
yeah.
understand, but man, oh man, get out there to support that local dirt
Well,
track, whatever track it
and
is that you're by, get there and support it.
and the announcement just created a firestorm on Facebook because all the wannabe promoters think that they have they have the answer as to what would solve the issue. And from just based on information I know, it wasn't because they switched to Tuesday nights last year. They used to race on Saturday nights, but there's so many tracks on this side of the state that race on Saturday nights, so they switched to Tuesday nights. And from my understanding, the car counts weren't that bad on Tuesday nights, but apparently, fan wise, they didn't have great crowds. Now, their weekly races were streamed on Dirt Vision, so I don't know how many people stayed home to watch the races and that sort of thing. So, but I mean, either way, it's a sad deal because I don't know if you've ever been to Beaver Dam Raceway, but it's a great facility. I mean, it's an awesome facility. It's too bad that they won't be racing weekly next year.
Yeah, and never say never, right? Maybe it'll shut down for a while. Who knows? Maybe plans will change. Maybe they'll find a different promoter. Who knows? But yeah, as of right now, Beaver Dam going to be specials in 2025. Who's hot, Bert? What do you got? Who's hot?
Well, like I said, everything got rained out, so I don't have anything locally. Obviously, nationally, you got to go with the Squirrel, as one of the hot drivers, and I'll go World of Outlaws, Hottenchild. He had 2 second place finishes this past weekend, so I mean he's running pretty well.
How about not? Who's not?
Who's not hot? David Gravel. He hasn't been to victory lane for a while. I mean, I didn't look to see when the last time he was, but I don't recall hearing his name in victory lane recently. So I'll put him on the not hot.
Coach Kraus. Who do you have right now, or what do you have going on? Rapid fire recap. Any shout outs that you want to give, and who's hot, who's not?
Just one shout out. We have the annual Fall Alignment Modified Special up in this area this coming weekend. Friday night, I-94 Speedway. Saturday night at the Viking Speedway. $2,000 to win, $200 to start modifieds. There's also we give a certain amount of the tickets back to the Fall Alignment organization. So it's a cool deal. Corey Savor, the owner of the Zach Johnson Modified, is behind this. He had lost his brother to an accident a few years ago, so we started this race, and it's been absolutely awesome. So sounds like we're going to have a good turnout, and it's for a good cause too. That's a big thing. And I don't know if you saw Ryan and Bert, but Corey posted a picture They were at the bar one night this last weekend, and there was like 15, 20, $100 bills laying on the table, and the comment was, "Hard Charger money is going up like crazy for the two shows." So it's looking like the Hard Charger may be over $1,000 both nights. Crazy. There, and then people started donating and throwing money into it. And that's what happens every year. It's a cool deal. So get up to I-94, you mod guys. It's a cool deal. I know Dan Ebert said he's coming up to race. Landon Atkinson's going to be there. Dave Kane says he's coming. You're going to have some hot shoes, and then you know how the locals are up in this area. So it's going to be a fun weekend up at I-94 and Viking Speedway. My hot list, got to go Braden Brower. Have to go Braden Brower. That's 5 in a row, and he's hot at the most important time of the year right now. And he's going, you know what? Nobody's catching me. Little brother, you're not catching me. Mr. Montana out there, you're not catching me. Nobody's catching me. He took care of business this last weekend. And the best thing about Brian Shirley being hot, guys, Bobby Pierce is loving that right now, because Bobby Pierce can be going, if I win, Brian Shirley's probably going to get second, because that's what was going to happen Saturday night before Pierce got that flat tire. Shirley wasn't going to win that night, and he said that. So I think Shirley being hot's going to benefit Bobby Pierce. Who's not hot? I got to go Kurt Myers, Ryan. You have a chance to close the gap on Dexton Cook this weekend, and he won the weekend before. He has a DNS, a DNF, and I think a second place finish. So, Mr. Myers, this time of year, you can't be doing that. Nationally, you got to go Nick Hoffman. You have to go Nick Hoffman. He was closing in. He was catching Shepard, and then he got passed by Pierce, and he'd be behind Pierce right now if it wasn't for that flat tire. So he's buckling under the pressure. That's all you can say about it. He's, he's obviously he's pretty new to this late model deal, and it's fast, but I'd like to see Nick Hoffman get up there and get some more wins under his belt.
Yeah, for sure. In second year guy, right? So I think the future's bright, but right now he's kind of cooled off a little bit. He had the point lead at one point, and he's letting that slip away. So I'm going to go Tyler Cater. He held off Brian Hobbin. Brian Hobbin, one of the most winning drivers over at Madison. They had a special there this past Saturday. Tyler Cater with a nice run over there. Pretty limited schedule for Cater this year, but to win a mod special here towards the end of the year, pretty good run for him. Matt Gilbertson. Shane Sabraski came to town. He was over in Monty on Friday, and Gilbertson gave him an ass whoop and won by almost a straightaway. Just flat out thumped him. Pretty limited schedule there too, but Matt Gilbertson, when he races, he's always in contention. Really good race car driver. Good run for him. I want to give a shout out local guy up in Hibbing, Sam Blevins. A pair of wins. Kind of an interesting deal. So my buddy Mervyn Castle, and Mervin's a buddy of mine. I like that kid a lot, but I got to give him an Emmy for a hell of a job acting there at the Hibbing Raceway. They kind of got together, might have been slight contact, and he literally turned to the right and parks the car in the middle of the back straightaway coming off at turn number 2. They throw the yellow, they put Sam Blevins to the back. I'm like, ooh, that was not good. Bert, you know what Sam Blevins did? He won anyway. From the back after getting a bad call. That's a hell of a run right there. That kid is going to be fun to watch. That family very passionate about racing. Cody Carlson, another buddy of mine. He's won at Superior, he's won at Proctor, he's won at Hibbing, right? ABC Raceway has kind of been one of his tracks for a long time. Got his first win at the ABC Raceway this past Saturday night in Ashland, Wisconsin. Who's hot? I'm going to start with Team Canada. David Simpson, after being on the not hot list last week, he's on the hot list this week with 3 wins. He's creating some separation there for the national title race. Huge weekend by the 70. And if he can have another big weekend this weekend, he will be setting himself up for a Midwest Mod national title heading north of the border. But guess who? Who do you guys think has the most wins in Wissota modified action right now today? Bert, I'm going to give you 4 drivers, and because I asked, it's probably pretty obvious. Mike Stearns, Shane Sabraski, Cole Chernosky, Buzzy Adams.
Chernosky.
Cole Chernosky has the most wins in Wissota Modifieds. He's got 14 wins so far this year. Sabraski's at 10, Buzzy's at 11, Stearns is at 11 and a half. Because the one counts, but not towards Wissota points. Sorry, buddy, that kind of stings a little bit. But Cole Chernosky, rookie year in a modified, that kid is a race car driver. He's won in everything he's been in, and he's putting himself in a contention to try to get a national title. Maria Bruksick, Maria Bruksick, guys, has won 5. She won 3 this weekend and has won 5 of her last 6. Kind of a slow start for her this year. Ran good, a lot of seconds, thirds, fourths, but boy, she's at 13 wins now, and I don't think she's in title contention. That's pretty much got Braden Brower written all over it, but she's locked herself into a pretty solid top 5 opportunity, maybe higher, but what a stretch here for Maria Bruksick. And how about Kyle Larson? I believe, and I'm on my phone. Maybe you guys can look, Coach. Maybe you can pull it up really quick while I'm talking. I think Kyle Larson's got 6 straight wins in sprint car action. I think he's been absolutely unbeatable. Like every time he gets in the car, he wins. So why don't you take a look at that? Not hot, Kevin Buzzy Adams. He started out hot. It looked like he was going to be setting himself up for a title run. If it can happen, it did. I didn't see the incident because it didn't replay it, but he had like a straightaway lead, guys, in Menominee on Friday, and he had an incident with a lapper. And I've heard both sides, and quite honestly, I didn't see it, but I've had people say the lapper come up across his nose and Buzzy had nowhere to go, and then I had other people say that Buzzy had a straightaway lead and literally drove right over the guy. I don't know, but that's just kind of the shit that's happening to him. Cars falling apart, clipping tires, you name it, it happens. But he is absolutely on the not hot list. Did hear he has a brand new hot rod though, so maybe that'll turn things around. Kevin Burdick, after a big year last year, finishing I think 3rd in the national points. He's just not having a year. It's just engine problems and crashing and all kinds of stuff going wrong. So Kevin Burdick, kind of a slumping season, but let's see if he can turn it around come invite time. Hudson O'Neill, right? Wasn't he leading the Lucas Oil points at the beginning of the year? He was leading that deal, wasn't he? When him and Mark Richards split, pretty sure. And now he's on the outside looking in. He's in 5th. He's not even in the chase right now. So Hudson O'Neill slipping away. Cole Searing. Kraus, did you see him literally drive off the end of the racetrack in Miller? Cole, I'm fucking
I did,
with you.
yes.
Settle down. Just kidding. Cole, I'm kidding. Relax. Probably just tipped over and had a heart attack. So Bert, him and Becker were battling for the lead, and they got into lap traffic, and it looked to me like Becker took a hard right, not necessarily a hard right to drive into the side of Cole, but he took a hard right because the lapper came up on the lapper, and he flat out punted Searing out in the woods coming off of turn 1. They put Searing to the back. It's like, really? Like Stevie Wonder texted me and like, did you see that deal? I'm like, yeah, that was kind of bad. And Brad Sweet. Brad Sweet's been winless, guys, for like over 2 months. He's leading the high limit points, right? He's another point racer, but winless for over 2 months. And I got to put the 71A on there because 2 opportunities to race. Last year I blew up in hot laps. This year I made like 2 or 3 laps in the feature. So I guess we're going to have to give her another go at some point. We'll see what happens. So there's our not hot list and our hot list and our recap. And let's jump into our 2024 pick'ems, guys, brought to you by Brad Parson, Soil and Egg Solutions. So harvest time is it's here for some and it's dang close for others. But here's the deal. He's got great products out there, right? I mean, obviously, he's the guy to call, 320-219-3542, but learn about the products that you can put in your spray packages to get better yields and make more money and have a better farming season in 2025. That's Brad Parsons, Soil and Egg Solutions. So this past week here, a couple movers and shakers. Changa, plus 14, big week for Changa. Bert, had a good week, plus 13 for you. Plus 12 for the Uper, and then Worker B and myself plus 11. Everybody else had 10 or less. Our points right now are tied. Now keep in mind, the winner of the points at the end of the year is going to get to pick a car that money put up by Brad Parsons, Soil and Ag, Impact Health sharing. We had Kent gave us some money towards this, and if other people want to kick in, they certainly can. But we're going to sponsor a race car in 2025, so the winner of the points gets to choose what driver they're going to sponsor. So Curtis and Changa tied at 285. Kind of nipping away, nipping at their heels. I'm at 270. I'm 15 points back. I feel like I'm right there in striking distance. Dano at 242, and Bert, you cracked the top 5. You're at 241, one behind Dano. Worker B 235, Uper 223, Man Bun Dan 219, Coach 213, Bromance 189, and Beefcake bringing up the tail at 173. Over 100 points back. That makes him lapped traffic. All right, get her together there, Beefcake. Come on. So this week, guys, picking a bunch of races, and go ahead and tell me who you have. World of Outlaw late models with a pair of events this weekend, Friday and Saturday, Chillicothe, Ohio at the Atomic Speedway. Bert, Kraus, myself. Bert, who do you have?
Bobby Pierce and B. Shep.
Coach?
Ooh, Pierce both nights.
I'm going to take the smooth operator ×2 as well. Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series up on the half mile, Port Royal up in Pennsylvania, Bert.
T-Mac ×2.
Team, he's hot. He's kind of rolling right now. Coach Kraus, who do you got Friday, Saturday?
RTJ Friday, T-Mac on Saturday.
And I'm going to go with the mailman, Devin Moran ×2. So all of us a little different there. Castrol Flow Racing Night in America at Lernerville, Sarver, Pennsylvania. That is Wednesday night racing action, Bert.
RTJ.
Coach?
I'm taking T-Mac.
Bobby Pierce. And I think I'm going to go to that one, guys. I deliver here at 4 in the morning, and I get my reload. I got to drive right by there. So about 99.9% sure that the One to Go show is going to make an appearance at the Lernerville Speedway. Bert, you might know this. Did Brady Smith win a Firecracker 100? I think one of our own won one up there, didn't he?
I don't know if he did. I know Mars has won that before.
Mars has? Okay, I thought Brady won one there too, but I'm not positive.
I know.
All right.
I know Brady won at Knoxville. I don't know if he won
did.
Firecracker.
Yeah, I guess I'm not positive. Maybe he ran good there or something. I remember him at Lernerville, though, for some reason. World of Outlaw buggy action heading to the upper Midwest Friday at the River City Speedway, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Saturday at the Red River Valley Speedway in West Fargo, North Dakota. Bert.
Shots on Friday and the Wild Child on Saturday.
Coach?
I got Mosquito on Friday and Shots on Saturday.
Isn't it the Danny Shots or Danny Shots Memorial at Fargo? I'm pretty sure it is. I think it's the Danny Shots Memorial. So I have gravel at Grand Forks and I have Donnie Shots at West Fargo. Wissota late model action up at the River City Speedway. They're going to be the support class there for the World of Outlaws. Bert?
Dustin Strand.
Coach?
TPO.
And I went with Dustin Strand as well. All right, got to stick with that 71 car. High limit sprint cars, 3 days out at the Silver Dollar Speedway, Chico, California, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Bert.
Courtney Day.
Coach?
Kyle Larson, Rico.
I got Kyle Larson, Day is what I have. All right, Tri-State late model action. Friday at Fairmont, Saturday at Worthington down in southwestern Minnesota, Bert.
Snowdrift and then Scott Ward.
Coach?
I got the opposite, Bert. I got Scott Ward Friday and Snowdrift on Saturday.
And I'm going to take Snowdrift ×2. Hunt the front late model action at Lake Cumberland Friday and Saturday, Bert.
Winger and Overton.
Coach?
Overton both nights.
And I got Winger ×2. Lucas Oil MLRA late models. Lakeside Friday, I-70 Speedway on Saturday, Bert.
Chris Simpson, Gordy Gundaker.
Coach?
I'm taking Chad Simpson both nights.
As did I, and Bert didn't take him. So is he not going or something? Bert, he's leading the points, I think. I got Chad Simpson ×2 as well. That was a tough one to pick because none of them guys have
Wow.
like any wins.
Well, I know. Yeah, Chad Simpson he's leading points, but has 0 wins this year.
Right. Yeah. So it's I'm like, wow, that's kind of an interesting one. Okay, the Mars Late Model Series, Friday at Tri-City, Saturday at the Red Hill Speedway, Bert.
Beggar and Unzicker.
Coach?
I'm going Alan Weiser both nights.
Alan Weiser, what do they call him? The A train, I think they call him. So I have Ryan Unzicker ×2. Dirt Kings late models. Well, bam, Dirt Kings late models up at Plymouth Friday, Bert.
Scheffler.
Coach?
And Valink.
I took Taylor Scheffler as well. He's got a couple wins up there. Fallen Lineman with Soda Modified Specials Friday at the I-94 Speedway, Fergus Falls. Saturday at the High Flying Half Mile, Viking Speedway, home of Jeff Krause. Bert, who do you got?
Correct my pronunciation if I'm wrong. Brady Gertis and Dustin Bitson.
Okay. Dusty Bitson. All right. Coach?
Bert, you're a smart guy. Bert. Because I'm taking the locals too. I got the exact same thing as Bert. I got Brady Gertis winning on Friday and Dusty Bitson winning on Saturday.
I got to go with one of my favorite looking cars in all of Wissota racing, and that's Brady Gertis ×2. That thing is sexy. That's my colors, blue and yellow, little hint of white in there. That thing is badass looking. So Brady Gertis, he's kind of rolling. You said he kind of got rid of that concept, went to a spec, so it's been pretty good. Grand Rapids Speedway on Thursday, 1,000 to win, Midwest Modified Special, Bert.
David Simpson.
Coach?
David Simpson.
Sorry, Blake Adams, you're my boy, but I'm going with the hot hand, David Simpson, for all three of us. And then here's one right here. We added this one to the list. KME late model action. It's their finale. 7,500 to win the points deal here up at the Gondaclaw Speedway Friday night, Superior, Wisconsin. Guys, Pat Dorr, the guy that's been racing forever and has won everything, is tied with rookie Johnny Broking on top of that deal. 1,500 to win, 7,500 to win the points. It's going to be a big night. That's going to be, I believe, on Dirt Race Central. You're going to want to watch that. Bert, who do you have?
The veteran gets it done. Pat Dorr.
Double one express for Bert. All right, Coach.
Yep, Pat Dorr.
Guys, I gotta hate to break this to you, but my boy Johnny Broking, even though he's kind of a dick, gonna be completely honest with you. Don't know if you saw his victory lane speech. He said that he's kind of turning into a chubby trucker like his buddy Ryan. So that was kind of bullshit. I'm not really sure. He said Ryan needs to get out of the truck or something. But I'm still taking him. Johnny Broking gonna win up in Superior. And that'll be a big night for him there. All right. 3 bold predictions brought to you, Coach, by the editor to our show.
Yes, Elevate Visual Video Productions. Make sure you hop online, elevate-visual.com. He also has a Facebook page. You need any videography done, any drone work done, any production services, you need a commercial for your business, make sure you get a hold of Brandon at elevate-visual.com and hop up on Facebook. He's got some awesome videos up there.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Brandon, for all you do. So, Bert, you had a few come off the board here. You said, is it Cody Vlies, right? I believe it is. You said, is it Vlies? Is that how you say that?
Yes.
Yeah. You said, I know Jeff had it Viles on the thing. I'm like, I don't think it's Viles. But yeah, Cody Vlies, you said it was going to win the Captain of the Creek, and he did not. He got 6. Matt Avila won, so that was a no. Then you said, and Jeff gave you credit for this, so if the graphic's wrong, we had to kind of change this. He said that Tyler Peterson, Bert, you said he was going to be winless this weekend. When I initially looked at my race pass, it looked like he was winless. But guess what? He won a makeup feature at Casino. So he was not winless. So he got one done. So Almost slipped one by us there, so that was incorrect. And then you said T-Mac was going to get a win this weekend. Good job. Good call on that one. You got that one correct. So T-Mac finding victory lane at Batesville. I had two come off the board as well. I said that Ryan Gerke, Brady Gertis would both be on the podium at the I-94 Speedway for the Bob Gerke Memorial. Brady Gertis won, but Ryan Gerke got ninth, so that one was incorrect. And then I said that between Bobby Pierce, Devin Moran, Tyler Peterson, Cole Searing, they would each win 50% or more of the races that they started this weekend. And that did not happen. That did not happen. TPO did. He won 50%, but none of the rest did. The Uper had a couple come off the board here, and he said this. He said Shane Sabraski would win 50% or more of the races that he ran this weekend. He ran 8 features. He got 3 wins. Still a good weekend, but not quite 50%. So he did not get that one. However, guys, he had 7 podiums, 1 DNF, and the DNF was in a Midwest mod that he never races. So you guys are all looking at me like, oh yeah, A-hole race. Sabraski got a DNF in the Midwest mod too. So like, all right. So there it is. All right. He also said this. Bobby Pierce going to be winless this weekend in World of Outlaw action. I'm like, that guy's a freaking idiot. Like he's got to be on crack or something. He's a dumbass. I got to eat crow. Gonna have to eat. I was wrong. All right. And he put a big suck that one, a-ho. So, yeah, he got second, fourth, and a 12th. So there's a tip for the cap. All right. Uper got that one. He got one up on me. Coach Kraus, you had 2 come off the board. You said, World of Outlaw late model races, it'd be 3 of 4 different winners or 2 of 3. Well, Brian Shirley won all 3, so that was wrong. And you also said the high limit sprint cars would have 3 different winners. Kyle Larson, Tyler Courtney, and J-Mac getting it done. So you got that one correct. Beefcake had 2 come off the board. He said at the topless, there'd be a first time Lucas Oil winner. That was not the case because T-Mac got that one done. And then he said there would be all different podium finishers in World of Outlaw late model action. There was 9 different podiums, 3 races. Well, Squirrel got 3, so that messed that up. Also, a good weekend for Tyler Bruning. He had a pair of thirds in there as well. So, solid weekend. So them are the only 2 that had multiple. Other than that, it was Pierce, Gustin, Hoffman, and Sheppy were the other podium finishers. So our standings right now, guys, we keep track of correct predictions and we keep track of correct percentages. And right now the Uper leading, but we're starting to kind of chip away at this deal. Uper got 23 correct. Bert, you, Coach, and the Peanut Gallery are all at 16, and I'm terrible at this deal. I'm at 14, kind of rounding out the top 5. In the percentages, though, Uper's at 31.9, and the Peanut Gallery at 24.6, Coach at 22.9, I'm at 22.6, and Bert, you're bringing up the back of the bus in the percentages correct. So we have a lot coming off the board here in the coming weeks, so we'll see how things tighten up. All right, we're going to make 3 laps around the track. We're going to each make racing-related predictions. Keep track of these, what comes off the board. Bert, we'll start with you. We'll go you, Coach, Uper, Beefcake, and myself. Bert, what do you got first?
All right, national late model action. Of the 5 races between World of Outlaws, Lucas, and Flo, there will be at least 4 different winners.
4 different winners of the big 5. Okay. All right. So that, yeah, what is it? 2 at Atomic, 2 at Port Royal, 1 at Lernerville, 4 different winners. If it rains, do you want to go 3 of 4?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. And if anything else, then it don't count, but 4 of 5 or 3 of 4. Okay. All right. Coach Kraus.
The word of the day for bold predictions is parody. And my picks are gonna kind of be the same for all 3 deals. So Lucas Oil, different podium finishers at the 2 Lucas Oil races this week.
All different podium finishers? So
correct.
Okay, so 6 different podium drivers at Port Royal. 6 different podium drivers at Port Royal. All right. Uper had his first one right here. Kraus, look this up quick because I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. How big is David Gravel's point lead right now? Are you on your phone or are you
Give
on
me
the
a
computer?
second.
All right.
I got it on my computer. Give me a second.
Okay. So Uper said this: David Gravel's point lead after this weekend, the swing up in Fargo and Grand Forks, is going to be under 100 after this weekend.
Yeah, it's at 106 right now. That don't count. Throw it out. It's at 106. Like, what's he doing?
Holy, I thought it was around there. I mean, is that a so like he's all talking shit about his Bobby Pierce bold prediction going winless, and then he comes up with he's gonna lose 6 points to Donnie Schatz this weekend on Donnie Schatz's home turf. Boy, there's a freaking brain buster. Come on, Uper, get this shit. Somebody can message us, put in the comments. Should this shit even count? I don't know. Uper, come on, guy, do better. Do better. All right, Beefcake, Fallen Lineman, modified A mains here. I-94 Viking Speedway. Get up there. They're both going to be on Dirt Race Central as well, but get to the track if you can. Same podium drivers both nights. Same podium drivers, no particular order, both nights. All right. I'm going to put my money, I'm going to double down. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is on this one. KME late model points, nice point fund they put together between KME and the Gondikla Speedway up there. 7,500 to win. I think it's just a 8-race series or whatever. That's a pretty darn nice point fund for that. Johnny Broking taking home the big money. Johnny Broking is going to be the KME Series champion. Last year, they did it a little different. It was like 4 tracks or 3 tracks, excuse me. This year it's at Superior. Johnny Broking in the I think it's Domination chassis by Rusty Schlenk. Swing arm car, by the way. He's going to get that one done. All right, Bert, second lap around the track. What do you got?
Since we were talking about the Simpsons before, MLR races, Chris Simpson will finish ahead of Chad Simpson both nights.
You got a poor attitude because me and Kraus both picked Chad Simpson in our pick'ems, so I don't know if I can agree. So Chris ahead of Chad both nights in those races. All right, Coach, what do you got?
I got a question for Bert. You think Ryan's last bold prediction was a bunt?
What was this? I was kind of thinking that yeah.
He's already leading the points. He's leading the points.
Who did you two pick in your pick'ems? All right.
It doesn't matter.
Here's the deal. It does fucking matter. Both of you two donkeys over here literally picked Pat Dorr to win. You both picked them. They're tied. I'm not sure if you know how this works, but if Pat Dorr wins, he's the champion. So literally both of you two said Pat Dorr was going to win. I think it's a bunt. No. I do because I'm pretty confident he's going to win. I love Pat Dorr, but I'm just sorry, Johnny Brook.
What we picked. It has nothing to do with what we.
Do you want to go back? Do you want to go back and change your pick'ems? Did I help you out? Do you want to go?
What does that have to do with bold predictions? Pick'ems is a completely different category than bold predictions. And you say this guy's going to win the points. He's already leading the points. What the hell?
Tied. He's tied with the guy that both of you two monkeys picked to win. So here's the deal.
Bold would be if he's sitting in third right now, about 10 points back. Yep, he's going to get it done. That's bold. Not, he's going to win. He's already leading it, but he's going to still win it. Okay.
2 of 3 of us picked the other guy, right? 2 of 3 of you picked the other guy to win. So clearly you don't think Johnny's going to win. You guys don't fucking like Johnny. You're Johnny haters is what you are. The Johnny Broking slander on this show is starting to piss me off. All right, it just is. So Johnny Broking is going to win. Do you want to text Uper right now? I'll wait. Here, go ahead, text Uper and say I'm changing my picks. I want Johnny Broking in Superior. Go ahead.
At least one car is going to show up to the World of Outlaw late models this weekend. That's basically what you just said.
So Johnny, evidently them guys they're quietly confident, right? They think you're going to win the points. but they picked Pat Dorr. Hypocrites. I got to be honest. I don't know what to think about
He
this
still
whole
owes
deal.
me a T-shirt. Johnny still owes me a T-shirt, and I haven't got it yet. Still mad.
All right. And you got your second one in. What was your second one? Did you make your second prediction?
No, I haven't got my second one. I'm too busy razzing you. Because I've given it to Bert all year long with the bold predictions. I finally had to give it to you. So
We got a good one. I got a little something for you. Don't worry.
I'm sticking with my parody. I'm sticking with my 6 different podium drivers, but we're going with the Lucas Oil deal. So both nights at the Lucas Oil, there's gonna be 6 different podium guys, 3 different guys each night.
So both nights at the World of Outlaw late models is one of them. Both nights at the Lucas Oil is the other one.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Uper, his second one. Bobby Pierce remains on his winless streak in the World of Outlaws. This does not count the Castro race, but Bobby Pierce will not win either World of Outlaw race this weekend at Atomic. Beefcake kind of went the opposite here. BP32, Bobby Pierce is going to win 2 of 3 this week between Castrol and the 2 there, but the other one's going to be a DNF. A little parlay for Beefcake. He's going to win 2 of 3 and 1 DNF. And I am going to go with my second one here, and I'm going to lay down another bunt just to fuck with Kraus because I can. 2 points, 2-point advantage here, right here. Good buddy of mine, spent a lot of time in the 71A shop, lots of time. Tristan Labarge, 2024, Wasota Superstock Track Champion, Hibbing Raceway. Write that down. All right, Bert, what do you got?
I'll go Mars late model. All different podium finishers both nights.
All right, 6 different podiums in Mars late model action. All right, Coach.
2-point difference with the Labarges, huh?
Yep, 2-point different. And Tristan came from last. He got put to the back, and he came from last. He actually got inside of Sabraski. He almost won that deal from the back in Hibbing. He had a pretty good run up there.
I mean, I might as well.
By the way, them 2 are cousins, him and Andy Labarge. It's like oil and water. I mean, there is a very good real possibility there's a fist fight Saturday night after that race. There could be a brawl. Them 2 could absolutely take each other out to win this championship and then be an absolute brawl for sure. That could happen. By the way, I'd bet on Tristan on that one too. All right, Coach.
Is it me? I don't. Should I bunt, Bert? Bert, should I bunt?
Bert, you took your third one. What was your third one, Bert?
All different podium finishers at Mars.
All right,
Mars.
Coach. Yep.
Bert, should I bunt? Like I got like a big time bunt here. Should I bunt, Bert?
Go ahead.
I'm not going to, but it'd be like me saying Bailey Roche is going to win the track championship at Viking Speedway on Saturday. It's got a 107-point lead, Bert. Basically, all he has to do is sign in. And he wins the champion. That's what Ryan's bold predictions are. So I'm going fallen lineman, I-94 Viking Speedway. It's going to be a very stout field. The drivers show up that need to. I'm looking for parity again. 6 different podium drivers at the Fallen Lineman race. It'll be 3 different guys each night at I-94 and Viking Speedway.
All right. So the Uper has one here, and we had a couple Bloomquist predictions, but we just took them off the board just out of respect, I guess. So he took them off. So he said, since we erased the Bloomer predictions, I'll go with the other old guy. And he said, since Coach is old, scared, clearly ran out of talent, the 29 star is going to have, between now and the remainder of the season, 0 top 5 finishes in A mains. Now, in order for this to count, at least 6 cars have to finish the feature. Okay, so you can't just roll into like 5 cars finished, I got 5th. No. So at least 6 cars have to finish. 0 top 5s for the 29 star. That is Uper's third prediction.
What
are you gonna fuck that up for him on Saturday, by the way?
100%.
Good.
What if he
Good.
What if he decides not to race anymore this year?
He's racing Saturday. He's gonna win Saturday. I should make that prediction. Like, you better frickin' win. All right. All right. Beefcake, Dusty Bitson double sweep. He's gonna win the heat and feature at I-94. Win the heat and feature at the Viking Speedway. Double sweep, Dusty Bitson. And you know what you do when you're in last? You play to win the game. You play to win the game. I need to lay down another potential bunt here. Corey Day will win at least one this weekend and will have at least one more podium. So 1 win and at least one more podium for Corey Day this weekend at Silver Dollar Speedway, Chico, California. And Kraus, I don't know if that's a bunt or not, because there's some pretty good hot rods in that deal out in California. But
they're at Silver Dollar too. That place can eat up some race cars. Things happen pretty fast. So that's that. I like that. I like that bold prediction. That's a good one.
All right, and he's a young gun. He's fun to watch. So he's kind of that up and comer in the sprint car world. So, fans, thanks for tuning in. A lot of information this week. Glad to be back on the show after a week off here a couple weeks ago. But best wishes again to Shane Zabrowski. Get well soon. That injury is bad. I know there's other people dealing with stuff too, but he's one of the top guys we want to watch. If you ever have any feedback, if you got any questions, any predictions, go ahead and fire them over. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Get out to the racetracks this weekend. Coach, get a fucking win, right? Expect you to win this week at the Viking Speedway. None of this 7th place shit, right? None of this DNF. First place, 29 star. Get her done. And good luck to everybody this weekend on your championship battles. Track championships on the line this weekend. So as always, I'm Ryan, Coach, and Bert right there. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please leave a review and subscribe. It is Puka. And Goat Sports has another show out there by podcast, Facebook, and YouTube. It's the Tea with Miss McGill show. Covers hockey, high school hockey in northern Minnesota. So if you're into hockey, you can find us on podcast under Tea with Miss McGill. You can find us on YouTube or Facebook, Goat Sports Media LLC. Yours truly and Coach Reed Larson. We break it down every week. We also do some interesting interviews. We'd love to have you. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we'll catch you next week.